Hey parents, who told you winning is not important? Well, I've got news for you. And I got news for Lee. Yeah, that guy next to me too. It is important. And a great club has been built with that in mind. Not winning at all costs, not screaming from the sideline, but the version of winning we sometimes get afraid to say out loud. It's called competition. Do you hear that, Lee?
Yeah,
You want the spot? You want to be uncomfortable? hmm Well, if you don't want those things, the game's going to go by without you. Bad news.
because every club can say pathway, every club can say development, but Cedar Stars is in a market where MLS academies and college scouts are always part of the conversation. So the question gets sharper. Why Cedar Stars? And how do you keep your best players and what kind of players survives in that room?
Yeah, and today we're talking to Juan Santamaria, sporting director and vice president at Cedar Stars Academy. He gets into players who have to chase their own college process, the harder question of how you motivate a kid who already has everything.
And he's very direct about things like a lot of parents need to hear. Do not be afraid of competition. Do not let anyone tell you winning is not part the path for growth. Sometimes the wrong environment is not where your kid struggles, it's where your kid gets too comfortable.
Hey, Lee, you know what the name of the show is? Chasing the Game. Youth Soccer in America. You know what we're going to try to do, Lee, you and I? We're going to try to win.
Win at all costs.
Juan, welcome to Chasing the Game, my friend. I want to start with your connection to the area, and this is for parents who are listening to this who don't really know what a sporting director does. Sporting director at Cedar Star is a big thing. I want to talk about your path into the game, your soccer landscape, the player you were.
Yeah, so I grew up in the area. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. So obviously been in New Jersey basically my whole life. And I was fortunate enough to go to St. Benedict's Prep in Newark, obviously a national powerhouse in terms of football. I was able to go there. And then from there, I went on to play in college at Ryan University, small mid-major in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. And then from there, I just stayed with the football, right? I knew that the next level probably wasn't the best choice for me at the time. And I really wanted to get into football because I love the sport. But at that time, we're talking around 2008 or so. It was still, football was still growing in New Jersey, in the metropolitan area. It's not what it is obviously has become now. And really went back to actually teaching. So I went back to actually the alma mater and started teaching. And while I was teaching is when I started coaching part-time. So I started coaching part-time. I was at PDA for many years. And again, at the time I was doing 3 jobs. Actually, I was teaching, I was coaching at PDA, but I was also assistant division 1 coach at St. Peter's University. So I was young. I was hungry. I just wanted to be around the game and I was learning it from some great football minds and some very well connected people in the area. That's how I started. So 13 years still here and, happy that we've been doing so well.
Well, bravo for that.
Wow, wow. So, um, Juan, as you look back from being a player to being a coach to not being an academy leader, what do you see differently?
As a coach, we built the club, and as we coached, our main focus was to build the club, and our main focus was our relationship with families. Football in the youth market in the United States is very much a customer service industry. So you have to make sure you're available to families, especially in the pay to play model world that we live in, and many clubs are. So as you guys know very well, is that it's become very, cutthroat and competitive within teams in the area. So how do we keep players from leaving? How do we attract players for coming? Now the goal as a coach was really to have a good understanding of the market and good relationship with families that, hey, listen, telling them, listen, this is going to grow. This is going to grow. Development is massively important. The training has to be competitive, has to be intense. And again, it's word of mouth as well. If you're doing a good job, results start coming. Families know each other and it's everything 6 degrees of separation, really. And they start speaking, and unhappy families, maybe on the other side, that want to try something new and they want to come over. So from a coaching side, it was a lot of that. And now as a director side, it's really supporting the staff with all this and just really being an earpiece for them to really have, okay, what are you looking for? Oh, yeah, we're losing all these players this year to Red Bull and NYCFC. How do we rebuild? Well, we need to do different types of identification sessions Do we know any of our current players that have former players that they were in other clubs that are potentially looking to leave? Do we have any relationships with other coaches from maybe not MLS Next clubs that are really willing to push their players on to play at the MLS Next level? So it's really a bit of a change from coaching to director. The only thing is that you're not on the field on the day-to-day, but you're still very much involved with helping the staff grow their team and grow themselves as coaches.
So because of your path and your experience and 13 years at the same place, I'm sure you've seen also the needs of the parents and the kids change as the landscape started to change. Do you, because you came from such a varied background, do you have an understanding of what families in our market feel as they see things change?
I think we're fortunate in the area that we're in, right? It's such a hotbed of talent. So, where maybe some players, don't fit into the MLS teams of an NYCFC or a Philly Union or a Red Bull, they're still going to compete with us and they're still very good players. But for us to be very good, and listen, all the teams around our area, as you guys know, I mean, between us, Gotchi, Met Oval, New York Soccer Club, it's so competitive. There's so many good teams. Coaches are great. The players are good. And the level is fantastic. So it always gives us good competitive games. Now, I think the parent education part is really important. I think what we're doing now, and I think in my role, what I feel what we've done well in the past couple of years is as we've gained the full pathway and we've been able to have successful teams, we've also been able to send guys to really good collegiate programs, right? So I think that when families see that, I think it gives them a little bit of an understanding and an idea that, hey, we're here to really promote and help your child, go to the next level, whether that's professional, whether that's collegiate. Obviously for us, the majority of the time, it's collegiate, right? For those select few that go the professional route, we're here to support. When there's relationships that we have fostered with pro clubs domestically and internationally, I think our relationships with various universities around the country has grown stronger. And that's obviously a massive credit to the staff, but also because the players that we're getting are good, right?
You mentioned losing players to NYCFC and Red Bulls. Would you say that they've graduated to that program instead of saying you've lost them?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? I mean, listen, you never like to see players go. And listen, we have a relationship with both Red Bull and with NYCFC, and we speak to them frequently and they reach out about players. I think there's always needs to be an understanding, right? We try to really be honest with our players and our families. If you want to leave us to go to Red Bull or NYCFC, we're in a position where we can say, if you're not a pro right now, and if you're going to be a collegiate player, that's my understanding, you should stick around another year and see what happens. Because if you're good, if they want you right now, you're only going to get better. You're good enough later on. You try to really work with the clubs with this, with NYC and Red Bull, and not just that, other teams as well that we've been working on recently. And a lot of the times, the staff in those MLS clubs take our advice when we go, listen, we see these guys day in and day out. I know you've seen them once or twice and you think they look good, but trust me, I don't think they're ready yet. And then a lot of the times they go, yeah, you know what? We'll take your advice. We'll keep watching and we'll see what happens next year.
But what makes me curious speaking to you and what's unique about this interview is that you have been in the same area for, again, I'm going to go back to this idea of 13 years. So you've seen this landscape change immensely. What Lee was asking about didn't really exist 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wasn't what it is today.
Right.
So can you talk a little bit about that so people will just some people will understand this kind of progress or change in American youth soccer that has happened in the last 10 years in our area specifically?
Listen, it's changed massively. Obviously, from the DA days and now to the MLS Next. Like, look at all the teams that are getting MLS Next franchises, right? So now we can say that it's a positive, but we can also say that it could very well be diluting the product a little bit. So, and what we're seeing right now is a lot of guys that maybe are 14, 15, 16 on our roster, let's say at a U19 level, will leave and go to a new club that's formed maybe, 45 minutes away, and they'll go because they're new and they'll start right away. Not knowing that from a recruiting standpoint, you're passing up on being on Cedar Stars, which is every year sending guys to pretty good schools and has a lot of eyes on them from collegiate scouts to a brand new team that's still trying to get going. So So it's changed completely. I mean, soccer has grown so much for the past 10 years. It's absurd how much it's grown. It is very different. I mean, it is very different from what it was 10 years ago.
Now, would you say that being that you're from Bergen County, that because of the dense location of where you are, that you have a vast amount of talent that you can pull from, that your talent pool is really vast versus say someone who lives in the Midwest, so to speak?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think we're fortunate, right, where we're located in the Bergen County. There's so many good players in Jersey, New York. I mean, we get kids from the Bronx and Brooklyn that take the buses to come in to play for us. And it's, it's like a 45-minute bus ride and they get there. We are very fortunate. We're in a melting pot, right? Where we have such a wide array of people and backgrounds. The demographics huge. So we're really lucky that we're able to get all these different types of talent. So Lee, you're 100% right.
So we had academy directors here. We had coaches. We didn't have a sporting director. Can you define that for us as families and parents, so we'll know who to complain to when after we understand that?
So for us, because as much as we've grown with the different locations, our club right now is around 2,500 players, right? In terms of all the Cedar Stars locations, right now, Cedar Stars Bergen is having great success with great players and great teams. But we have the Hudson Valley, we have Monmouth, we have Staten Island. The North also involves Newark as well. And then we have Ocean, and now we have Atlantic. It's a lot. So as we continue to grow, one of the things that falls under my responsibilities is really just like, all right, what are we doing for these players maybe that other clubs don't have in place in terms of, are we setting up the proper player pathway to attract players to come to us as opposed to maybe somebody else? So obviously focusing on the MLS NEXT, for instance, most of the guys know, hey, listen, you come here, there's this player pathway. We have a relationship with a college. We have college nights. We have invite college coaches to come and speak. We work with sports recruits where all our players have this access to this. We do everything we can in terms of brochures and QR codes for all our players. And then obviously as we've grown and we have obviously relationships with different pro clubs, right? So speaking to different pro clubs about players, whether it's here or internationally. So a lot of that stuff falls to me. And I do speak to parents in terms of can't speak to all the parents. It's impossible, right? But to a few parents that need help, we set up time to discuss the next steps of your child's career.
How do you choose who are the few parents that need help to talk to? Because they all need help. Do you shake like a bowl with numbers? And which was my idea.
So it's really, it's funny. We always have a college night. When we do the college night, we always speak about, obviously, a lot of the recruiting part and stuff going on is really player driven nowadays, right? The college coaches really want to see the players driving this. They want to see that the players are doing their job. They're doing their research. I'm here to guide them and to guide the families. We spend a lot of time, especially with the top end guys. So we have to be realistic where we put our time and efforts, right? There's so many players. Everybody finds a home, but we put our time into the top guys because we're trying to send guys to these ACC, Big 10, Big East schools. And we've been fortunate the past 3 years, we have been sending them there, but their first look isn't Cedar Stars, or it wasn't 3 years ago. Now the landscape's changed a little bit and we've had success with our older teams where now guys are going, okay, wow, we got to keep looking at these guys. Where before it would really be like, well, we're just going to look at Red Bull, NYCFC, Philly Union, and then we'll pick off those guys. Now it's been, hey, there's been success in the club. Players have come from us and have done well, and then have gone to college for 1 year or 2 years and are now gotten drafted. We've had 5 draft picks in the past 3 years. So, it's first rounders. So, and that's a testament to the club, to the hard work. So the hard work that the club does. So we need to focus on those guys and have those conversations with coaches and families when families call and say, hey, listen, I really think I can do this. And then you have to have those honest conversations that no parent wants to have when they call you, hey, I think my son can play at Wake Forest. And I go, well, I don't think he can. And it's kind of diverting them and educating them that, listen, might not be for him. Don't go crazy trying to throw all your eggs in the basket to go here when there's plenty of other options that you can have. Here's what you should look at. And then it's kind of just guiding them that way in terms of where you should go, where's the next steps of your lives. So it's just having those open, honest conversations with the families.
That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah. So some conversations are a lot more fun than others. I'll just put it that way. I try to be very honest because I don't want to beat around the bush with the families and tell them, yeah, when a lot of them come in. But to be honest with you, past couple of years, families we have these college nights and we bring in college coaches and I'm very open and honest with them. I think they see, okay, well, this guy's pretty serious about this. I'm not going to call him to waste it. He kind of puts it the way it is. Like, do not call me if if you're not playing on the U19 team right now, you're like number 60 on the roster and you're asking me that, hey, I really want to play at Clemson. It's like, I really try to paint that picture early on for them so that they're okay, I'm not going to call this guy 1,000 times and try to waste his time because that doesn't work,
Parents, I've learned that it's not just about the kids at this point. Parents have to educate themselves as well. And if you're putting your kid, especially at the level that Cedar is, and in our area, these clubs demand, parents can't just be bystanders. And on the other hand, can't just make random demands. They really have to educate themselves in that process. So,
yeah, correct.
Yeah. So, Director, I want to go back to part where you mentioned about, choosing your top players and the players that you've decided that are going to go pro. Is there a metric that you guys are using to separate the cream of the crop? Like, how do you as a director go about deciding this player or these 5 players are going to be the ones that we're going to push and prolong their career?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like Alan's saying already, that we have the preliminary meetings during preseason, right? And August comes in when players are getting signed or we know players that are leaving. We kind of have an idea of which guys are our top end guys, right? These guys are going to be top collegiate prospects, and we map it out, right? And we have weekly meetings, right? We have a weekly meeting where we talk about, hey, which player is playing here, which player needs to play up, which player needs to train up. So all those conversations we have. And then we know and which guys, hey, listen, this guy's, and we go, okay, this guy is a solid college player. This kid's a top collegiate player, a Power 5 player, and this guy's on the pro track right now. So we know which guys are which, and majority aren't on that, right? We have to focus on those guys that are going to keep helping the club, putting the club on the map, but also they're going to continue to grow and go to the next level. And obviously we've been fortunate, right, the past 3 years with the relationships that we've made in Africa to be able to bring the boys and St. Benedict's Prep does an amazing job with that, with getting the boys over. We've been lucky with Senegal and Ghana, and we have these top players that have come over, and have done very well for both St. last year. Junior Diou from Senegal is now playing in Beverly after 1 year in college. Those are the players that we need to take care of because ultimately it's really important for the club. Money in the pocket for the club as well, keeps creating very good relationships, not just domestically, internationally. So that's a massive focus for us as well. Players from the outside as well has been huge.
So Cedar Star has grown immensely and it's been incredibly successful. And I almost find that baffling, and I'll tell you why. Because on one side, you have parents looking at the team and saying, oh, maybe this team is a springboard to MLS clubs because you're an hour away from 2 major clubs and 2 hours away from the 3rd major club. But for Cedar Stars, as you mentioned, looking for that raw talent, all of a sudden you look at a kid that's a U11 or U12, U13, you go, why even waste time here? In 2 years, that kid's going to go to NYCFC or Red Bulls. Do you want to build an alternate universe where it's worth sticking at Cedar Stars?
Yeah, and it's tough, right? I think we never want to hold anybody back because it's not right, because then people are unhappy, parents are unhappy, kids are unhappy. So we could only give advice and suggestions to families if they decide, hey, listen, we really want to go, we really want to make the jump. We can only support them. And it happens all the time where, when I was coaching, I can give you examples of times where I've had a very polite conversations with parents and they go, listen, if he really wants to go, I said, listen, no problem, go. The door's open. I'm going to tell you right now, he most likely will be back. And a lot of the times they end up coming back. And it's just a very respectful thing because even if they do come back to us, they still help us as a club and we still care. But the door is always open. If they leave, we don't get angry. We go, you're done with us. You're done. You're caught. Like, no, we understand that sometimes families want to take that jump and all that. But as you guys well know, it's very difficult to make it even in NYCFC to jump into that first team. It's Red Bull, the same thing. It is very difficult. It's very competitive. So we always keep that olive branch there for the families. In an alternate universe, to answer the question, we'd love to keep the guys to show them that, listen, hey, look what we have. We've sent guys to European clubs. We've sent guys to other professional clubs. We're sending guys to go 1 year, 2 years at the university with the plan of that, hey, you're most likely going to get drafted. Just take that 1 year and then you're going to be fine. And it's worked out. So we've had those conversations, and families have, listen, you know what? Let's stick it out. I think it ain't a work. And we try to put a lot of effort and emphasis into that to make sure that we do our part as well. Like I said, we don't want to hold anybody back. We don't want it to come back to us and bite us in the ass a little bit because we kept somebody back and then it didn't work out. We don't want to do that. But we would love to keep everybody, because then the club will just continue to grow as it's growing and be as competitive as it's ever been if we're able to keep everybody. But again, that's why we have to, we lose guys. And then once we get to 17 and 19 is when we really have to load up with these foreign players, because we lose a lot of the guys. Always rebuilding. We're looking at even now, I can tell you we're losing tons of players. I would say upwards to 10 to 15 guys, that are getting interest from MLS teams, and that's to rebuild. That is a lot. No excuses. We go out, we keep developing, we bring these guys in. We have to recruit. We have to do what we have to do, but we have to remain competitive in this market. It's extremely important.
Yeah. Because you've grown so much, is there a Cedar Star player? Is there a philosophy behind the club, especially considering the multiple splintering of the club now is a bigger brand? We had the CEO of Albion here, and I've asked him that exact question.
The biggest thing that we've always said since day one has been mentality. I think the mentality of the player is massively important. If you've ever watched a Cedar Stars team play, they are absolutely relentless. Maybe not some of the best players on the field, but they work hard.
Oh, I hate playing you guys.
Yes.
No, this is is on the record.
And we're proud when teams say we hate playing you, because that means that we're doing our job.
Right.
Because we know when we play MLS teams or when we play top end teams, well, maybe on the talent perspective, we're not going to be able to compete toe to toe, but from a mentality and desire and work rate, we're going to do whatever we can to win. So that is a massive non-negotiable, is the mentality to get these guys ready to go. And again, that's a credit to the coaching staff, where we have these discussions in terms of how do we want to play? What's our style? What's our brand? We have our philosophy. We have our methodology. Everybody knows what they have to do. All our teams play the same. They all have the same formation. And the player attributes, yeah, of course you get maybe a player that's very talented that doesn't want to do certain things, but happens. But the majority of the players have to stick to the club principles. You need to be relentless. You need to work. It's just how he's competed, and then of course you have special talent that does other things that you support, right? But again, the majority of the players, it's just a massive willingness to compete, to do whatever it takes to win. It's just how it's been for us. And again, it's really the coaches pushing that onto the players, and again, not every player comes to us like that, but it's a matter of having them buy in to the culture that we've created in the club and say, listen, to come in here and to compete right away, this is what you have to do. And that comes in with a new player. That comes in right in the beginning when you start training, in the training sessions. You start seeing, wow, I need to compete if I want to step on the field with these guys, because the training sessions are intense and the coaches design them to be that way, to basically sit there and go, okay, well, this guy's going to go to do it against Red Bull this week, and this guy's not going to be able to do it. We're going to do whatever we can to compete and beat them. These are the guys that are going to do it. So that is really how, if you talk about player profile, it's mentality, absolute mentality. You have to be a monster.
So guess what, Lee? Guess what? Winning is important.
Winning is important. Winning is important. So you're saying that I don't have to be...
You heard it here for the first time.
I don't have to be 6'5", 180 pounds. With lightning fast speed. All right. No problem. So
you gotta want to win.
I'm sitting here and I'm taking all these notes because, director, you're dropping all these nuggets. I thought I was smart before. I'm definitely not smart at all.
I'm not reinventing the wheel. This is all stuff I'm sure you've heard before, guys. This is just maybe coming from a different voice.
Love. So I live in Bourbon County or in Southern New York, Northern Jersey. Why should I choose Cedar Stars over NYCFC, Red Bulls, PDA, Meadowville, Gotchi, you name it?
Why I would say Cedar Stars, I think there's a lot of care that we give to the players outside. You know, our coaches spend a lot of time, and I can speak for myself personally from a coaching standpoint. You know, I used to coach the U19s. It's not just the coaching on the field, especially when you get to older. It's like really speaking with the players, and our coaches do a great job. I mean, there's a lot of open dialogue communication. It's not just we put something on Team Snap, come to the training pitch, here you go. No, it's, hey, how's it going? Finding out how the guys are doing in school, 17, 19-year-olds, you know, dealing with issues, girlfriend stuff, or they don't want to train, or they do, you know, it's all that. And it's part of being a coach isn't just what you do on the field in the training session. It's the mental state of the player. Every player is different. You know, every player is going through different things. And in our area and in our teams, we have kids that are coming from inner cities where they don't have the same thing as guys that are coming from more of a privilege upbringing. And you see our teams, they're very different. It's very different. You know, you have Latinos, African Americans, white, Asian. I mean, it's an eclectic group of individuals. So how do you get all those guys to compete and work hard and bond together? And I think it comes down to communication. But I think what we do that has set us apart in the past couple of years, and why players really tend to play hard and work hard, is because our coaches do a really good job of getting to know the player, getting inside the mind of the player, and knowing it's not just about the X's and O's and the tactical preparation for games and game film and that stuff. It's really important to know those kids, especially 17, 19, even once you hit, I think, your sophomore, junior, senior year, as a coach, your dialogue should be specifically to the player. The father and the mother should be outside. You know, they just get relayed information, but it should be a direct communication with the player. That's how you create that bond, that trust. And I think that's what keeps players, instead of going, hey, you know what, I don't want to just leave to go to maybe Red Bull NYCFC. I have this bond with this coach and these guys. I don't want to leave this because they know who I am. So I think that's something that our coaches do a really good job of here.
So given that Cedar's grown so fast, what's the one thing that breaks when a club grows as fast as you guys are growing? Is it standard? Is it communication? Is it player placement, culture? What's the one thing that is going to break growing so fast?
I think that's a good question. I think we see this every year. As you grow fast, you need to bring in more staff. And when you bring in more staff, not every staff comes in and is ready to do all the stuff that we demand, right? And it's like buying into the methodology, buying into the club, core values, the culture, everything that we do in the beginning when we meet all the coaches in August. So when you grow so fast, you have to bring in young coaches or other coaches that come in and maybe have their own ideas or are very new to the game. And it's kind of educating them. And it doesn't always work. And this happens a lot. Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of young coaches nowadays want to be given top teams and want to be given everything right away. And it doesn't work that way. You got to put your time in. You got to get the licenses are important, but you got to make sure that you're getting your coaching education. You're taking the right steps to grow. Your professional development's important. Are you doing extra? Are you coming into the office? Are you going to watch other games to see how other teams are doing? And I think as we've grown, it becomes more and more challenging to bring in top end staff. I think it's a problem for every club when you're talking about the growth. And as we've been growing is, okay, we need more staff. It's getting the right people to come in and join and be part of the club, be part of the culture in the process.
Yeah, so I want to kind of focus a little bit about pathway as we were talking about the obvious one, which was NYCFC and Red Bulls or Union. You said that college recruiting has changed. It's become a lot about the player, the initiative that's coming from the player. You're in it. You're in the weeds all the time. You help family out. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? And how does Cedar Star as a club help families, if at all, guide them through this process?
Yeah, so we give every support we can in terms of with a website that we've designed that's very good on our platform that breaks down everything from the college recruiting tools, from the company that we use with everybody has exposure to it, access to it with sports recruits. college night where we bring college coaches in to speak to the families, Q&As as well. So they hear it directly from the horse's mouth. They don't just hear me speak. They hear, hey, come, and we tell them, come with questions prepared, both players and families, and ask them. So we'll bring Division I coaches, we'll bring Division III coaches, we'll bring a variety of coaches to come in and speak. That way they can answer all their questions. And then it's, and every coach says it, and I've seen it, it's very player driven. Listen, unless you're a top end player, right, where again, they sell themselves and they go and we call them the June 15th kids, right? Where it's your sophomore year of June 15th, and that's when it's illegal. When you're one of those guys, then when you're getting all those phone calls as a sophomore June 15th, you don't need anybody's help because you're good. That's why you're not getting those phone calls on your junior, senior year. You need to put yourself out there. You need to work hard. You need to send emails. You need to talk to the coaches. You need to really go out there. And he said, and I'll be very honest with the coach. He's not good enough for you guys. I'll tell him not to waste your time. Or I'll say, listen, you need to pay special close attention to this kid. He's good. Or if I see a coach on the sideline watching the game, I go, listen, this is a kid you should look at. And I'll give my advice to the coach if I have a good relationship with him. And I have this conversation a lot on Division I, but I'm looking at them and going, well, why would you pass up a degree from a top Division III school like Amherst or Tufts or Middlebury just to go play Division I, to say you played Division I, when you're not going to be you're most likely not going to be a pro. And I've had those conversations. Some families have listened to it. Some families don't. And I try to push guys towards that and go, listen, go to these schools. You're going to graduate with 6-figure salary. Why would you want to go over here to just say, I played Division I at a mid-major? These guys want you. You're going to play all 4 years there. Okay? You should do that. And you're going to be set for life. So I think that's the big thing is that, right? It's just having those conversations. And that's what we try to do at Cedar Stars, from the college nights to the supporting the recruiting tools. Is this kid good enough? Am I wasting my time? Is he wasting my time? And to be fair, our guys do a very good job, and we put it on them to go make sure you're doing your job. If you're not sending emails to coaches and you're not doing your part, don't come to me and say, can you do this for me? It's not happening. You need to do your part first, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, I know my son doesn't play for you guys, but now that you've been on the pod, maybe you could throw in a good word with a couple of people. I appreciate
You got it.
that.
No worries. I'll do my best.
That's fine.
How difficult is it to be honest with parents and say, hey, your son is just not good enough?
It's hard.
By the way, Lee and I talk about that a lot as well. We beg for that honesty all the time. We want report from teams.
When I approach parents or they approach me to ask, what do you think? And I'm honest with them, they're very open to it. You know, they have their own ideas. They're very open to it, just like what they ask me. But what happens if he goes to one of the camps and clinics and I go, so you're going to want to go to a clinic with 200 kids and think you're going to stand out? By all means, that's on you. I don't think he needs to do that because I don't think that's going to be the place for him. But if you want to go and throw money out the window, that's on you. You know, it's on you. You make your own decision. I can only help you so far. But a lot of families have been receptive to me saying, and I try to be, you know, as honest as possible with them. I don't want to waste their time and tell them, yeah, no problem. You're going to be fine. You know, you're good. You're going to play at UNC and Duke. I try to tell them right away how difficult it is to make it there, how difficult it is to go to these type of schools. I mean, you're competing with, look at the market now. You're competing with internationals, number one, with grown men that are playing professionally in Europe. And you're competing now with the transfer portal. I mean, college coaches would rather bring a guy in who's played 2 years of Division I soccer rather than bringing in an 18-year-old who's only played, was only played at MLS NEXT. We want the game to grow in this country. The college game needs to be there for our young American boys to come through, to be able to play. And then when you're not getting recruiting and you're waiting because college coaches are waiting for the 21-year-old French player to come over, it's hard. It's hard. And I understand where coach is coming from. You need to win. Who's going to help you win more? And the college coaching, college soccer is not about development. It's about winning. It's about get me wins, do this. And are you going to put your trust in on a 18-year-old kid who's playing MLS NEXT or a 21-year-old guy who's gotten a few games on the third division in France?
Now let's talk a little bit about the pro path from Cedar, which you
Mhm.
mentioned as well. How is that established, and what's your experience with that?
If you're playing for obviously a Red Bull or NYCFC or Philly Union Academy, right, where there's a direct path to a pro team, right? But we have good relationships with clubs in Europe that now with guys like Junior Diouf going to Beveren in Belgium, and obviously some of our special talents getting taken a look at from European clubs that have seen some of our boys play. Now they go, okay, well, there's a direct pathway there. There's a direct path that you can go to Europe. And again, it's obviously much more difficult to do that. You have to be a special type of player. It needs to work. It needs to make sense. But again, we try to have those relationships with players that we feel have that capacity, so that if players want to think outside of MLS, we can support them with that. And if they want to do MLS, we can support them with that as well. If we can help you leave us with a contract in an MLS team, great. We're there now. We want to do that if it makes sense. So it's a matter of having those relationships, I think, is really important. Other sporting directors from European clubs and obviously scouts that have come in. We were lucky, for instance, our U15 team that just won the national championship. Obviously, they played in the GA Cup, right? And they did quite well in the GA Cup. They were one of the guys that I got invited because they qualified. And I mean, there were so many European scouts at that event on GA Cup. So a lot of eyes on some of those players on those teams, and people took a lot of notice as well at MLS teams, obviously, right? So it's a little bit of everything. So that team has done phenomenally well, has been together for quite a few years, but obviously now looking into next year, a lot of those players aren't going to leave, aren't going to go. It's just normal. It's just the way it works.
What would you say the percentages from, let's say, between the U17 and 19 of the kids who end up going to where they wanted to between pro and collegial path from where you are playing the game?
From our 17s and 19s, I would say our percentage is pretty high, if I'm being honest. And obviously, the majority, 95 to 97%, are going college, right? But then we have the select few that are going pro. Or a lot of the guys that are doing like 1 year and then they leave, right? It happened this year, 2 of them, right? From last year's U19 team, Kwaku got drafted first round, Sporting Kansas City, and has been playing for Sporting Kansas City on the first team. Went for half a season, was at Clemson until December. And he got his GA deal and went and got drafted. And then Junior Diouf went to Grand Canyon, didn't even declare for the draft, scored 18 goals, I think, his freshman year. And then he went to Beveren. So it was, and then you have Ransford, who was also at Clemson, who got drafted by NYCFC in the first round, but decided to go back to school for his third year. So that's 3 guys, and it's not 1 year to do that. And we have other guys that are from that team that are coming through that at some point will break into an MLS team on that U19 team last year.
The pathway definitely is not clear, but it seems like you guys have a system that works for you, and you guys you have the knowledge and you have a structure where parents can feel comfortable saying, if I send my kid to Cedar, I know that they'll be given the right direction and information to get to either college or pro pathway.
I think so. I think so. I think that's what I think a big selling point for us is that I think we get a lot of families and players to come to us because they see that there is traction. All our guys are going to schools, and some maybe don't end up in the schools that they thought at first is what they wanted. But then when they, like I said, when they do their visits and they speak to the coaches and they get time to really think, it works out for them, and they go to a place and they're playing, and now they're happy. It's just a matter of them understanding and listening and taking the time to get educated as well, and trusting the process a little bit, right? Trusting the process and that it's going to work out at the end. So we try to give them everything we can, and I think we've done a good job at getting guys to the next level.
I mean, you can't really talk about Cedar Star in New York and not talk about economic disparity and what the variety we have in this area. I know that Cedar Star is operating in some extraordinary wealthy areas, but there's also communities that don't have that. How do you deal with this disparity within the market, within your own community and teams? Or is that something, this is how much it costs? I know you give scholarships. I know that personally from people in your community, but is this something that you're aware of, and how does the team deal with it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like you said, there's a disparity, right? Where there's families that can pay the tuition and it can pay for the flight. I mean, it's not cheap. It's very expensive. And it's unfortunately it's market driven, right? It's what the market is offering. This is what you pay the tuition. It's not any higher or lower than what other clubs are offering. The flights are the same for all of us when we go to showcases. The hotels are the same. Nothing's crazy. The food costs, so everyone's paying around the same. It's expensive. And again, we offer financial aid to our families that can't afford it, right? And we take care of a lot of guys. So we know that we need to do that. It's a service. And that comes also down to our president, right? George Altuve is very big on the community and making sure that everybody has an opportunity. You don't want to turn players away, especially top talented players away because they can't pay the tuition. As a club, you have to do your due diligence, right? With making sure that, hey, listen, can you pay? Can you not pay? What's going on? Obviously, you want to make sure that everything's taken care of. But we know that some of our families come from, we know that they can't pay the tuition. We know that they can't afford all these trips. And this year has been massively expensive this year. You're talking about going to Utah, to Dallas. Within a month's time. It's not cheap. It is not cheap at all. We need to help some of our families that can't afford it, because when you go to these showcase events, it's so important for them to be seen, for colleges and for the next steps. You need to support these families.
The director of Red Bulls was on the pod, and he talked about the trips that Red Bulls take to Brazil, or when they go abroad to places that are not as affluent as where they are. And he talks about, or the Brazilian kids coming here, and he says the thing that always kind of gives him an eye twitch is the American kids coming out of Range Rovers and those, So I was thinking, do you see in your experience the relationship between less money in a family and greater hunger in players to succeed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a global thing, right? I think you just see it globally. You just see it's always one thing we always say, right? As coaches, we look at, and I think a lot of it comes down to the family dynamic and how it is at home, because you can be wealthy, but still be very driven and hungry. It comes out. And I think one of the things that as a coach, I used to say, and it's something that we speak with coaches with, how do you motivate a player who has everything? How do you motivate someone who has everything? It's hard. It's hard to come up with ideas and different ways of going, okay, how do you motivate this individual, like you say, who's coming out of a Range Rover, who comes from a wealthy upbringing, wealthy family. He doesn't have to worry about anything. He's playing, and maybe he's a good player, but you could tell right off the bat, that's not going to be his future, is it, in football? It's just a stepping stone to maybe potentially playing in college. And wherever it is, how do you get to know the player, to know which buttons to push to get that guy to be motivated? Like the kid who's coming from the Bronx, who's taking the bus, who doesn't have much to offer. He comes off, he's hungry because he knows this is his only way of making it. Maybe he's not a pro. Most of them aren't, but it's his ticket to the collegiate game. What people always say, the U.S. hasn't grown like in other countries like Brazil or Argentina, and stuff like that, is why, because there is no fallback play in those countries. You either play to make it. That's how you do it. There's no college here for some of these guys. These guys are hungry because there is no fallback plan. This is their life.
So I should take away my kids' college fund and say, listen, this is it.
You should never know.
This is it. There's no college for you. You either make it or you're done. Oh man. I agree that, when there is a fallback plan, it's really, really, really hard to be motivated. What are some of the tools and techniques that you guys are using to motivate these kids?
Yeah. I mean, listen, every individual is a little different, right? But I think you just get to know some of the players and what it is that they're trying to do, right? Some kids just want to go and play in college, and they want to go to Ivy League schools. But if you want to go to an Ivy League school, you're not thinking of the professional game. You're thinking about your future as an individual. You're focusing on the academic component, right? This is going to set me up for life, which is a fantastic way of thinking. So I think it's knowing which individual to motivate on the field to say, hey, listen, you want to aspire for that? This is what you have to still do, because guess what? Princeton and these guys are still getting guys that are playing MLS NEXT Pro. There's kids that are playing MLS NEXT Pro right now for NYCFC, Red Bull, for Philly Union, that are going to sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go play for for Princeton.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
another big issue.
it's
Yes.
I mean, doing latches is going to Princeton. So, you know, and he's a top player. And he's like, no, I'm going to go to Princeton. You know, he's an example, but I completely understand where these guys are going from. You know, NYCFC 2 team, Red Bulls 2 team, Philadelphia Union's 2 team. Doesn't matter. It's like, okay, you're playing, but these Ivy League schools are now recruiting these guys and go, well, why would I keep playing here? I might never get to the first team. It's really hard. I might as well use this as a way to get an Ivy League education and then go from there. And then you have other guys that want to play at those ACC schools, Big Ten schools. How do you motivate those guys? Well, you got to be the best on the field. You want to be seen, you know, because you are now fighting against the world when you're talking about those type of schools, because they're recruiting globally. So it's finding those buttons for these guys that, hey, listen, this is your chance to make it. You know, you got to do the business to make it to these places now.
For us as parents, Eli and I are involved, but I got to say we've weaned off in the last year or so from our kids. But, you know, you drive, you email, you ask the questions, you book the trainers, you make the video. I mean, it is a nonstop kind of commitment, but at some point you have to start weaning off from the kid. When do you think you see that shift?
So I would say, I mean, listen, I think kind of talking to like the point I had before in terms of not coach and player relationship, I think once the player hits the high school age groups, right, I think it's more like, okay, if you know your son's at a good environment, at a good club, and he's playing well, and he's in the right place with the right coach, and you feel comfortable with that, then I think once you get into that freshman, sophomore year, and I think it's time where families can sit there and go, okay, listen, let him continue to mature as not just on the field, but off the field, and have that relationship with the coach and have a conversation. If he's not getting the playing time, it shouldn't come from you. It should come from him. Hey, if they come to you and say, Dad, or coach isn't playing me so much, and the response should be, go speak to the coach and ask him why you're not playing. Because at the end of the day, the coach wants to win games. So you got to speak to him to see what it is that you can do to get on the field. But again, once they hit the high school ages, I think it's time where it becomes less involvement, unless it's something more severe or something that is different. Like when we talk about the college stuff, where it's a little bit more like you need to know what's going on, obviously. But when it comes to other things like playing and obviously tactical or anything like that, that should just come from the player right to the coach, and they have that conversation.
So your expectation is if a kid, a U13, U14 is not getting the minutes that kid thinks they deserve, their path should be to their coaches or to you.
Yeah, go to the coach. Yeah, I think to go to the coaches, it's important to have that. Also as a coach, you want to see that, right? You want to see that. I know as a coach, you know, when you're coaching the game and you're not just trying to develop the player, you're trying to make them better. You're also trying to compete and win. You want to see players that are hungry and get upset that they're not playing. It's competitive. It's supposed to be. If a kid's okay with not playing, then yeah. If a kid's okay with not playing, then what's the point? Everybody should be unhappy when they don't. I mean, you should be. What the hell's going on? You should have the conversations and go, hey, listen, coach, you know, I haven't started the last 2 games. How do I, you know, what can I do to start? What can I do? What do you think I can change? Have that conversation. It doesn't mean that the next game you're going to start, but have a conversation. Hey, man, what do you think? Hey, listen, this is what you need to do. This guy's ahead of you right now. You got to understand this is how it is. And then you got to work through it. And then, listen, in this game, so many things happen. Kids get injured. Things happen, you know, changing. Some guys are missing. You have to move pieces around. And all of a sudden you step in, you do a good job, and then it becomes yours to lose again.
For the last couple of years, I've been telling my son Lee to go talk to the coach. So you said go to the coach, and I literally took notes and I wrote with some stars. I also wrote a note with some asterisks next to it. Winning matters, because I think twice in this pod you've said winning matters. Coaches want to win. And everyone that says that nobody cares about winning, clearly you just debunked that theory that winning doesn't matter.
And winning is also the kid getting independence and demanding, where you just said demanding their play. That's a win too.
Absolutely.
I mean, so the winning is it's not just a black and white. You go, it's winning your place on the field. It's winning the extra 10 minutes.
It's just as you develop and you get older, you look at the sidelines as kids are younger, and we always say this, which kid is okay at 9, 10, 11 when you start looking is okay if you lose a game by 3 or 4 goals. If you start seeing a kid that's angry and he's like this and he's frustrated, it's like, that's what I want to see. If you see the kid, like, it's because it's wanting to win is part of life. It's part of life. I mean, you got to go to job interviews later on in your life and you're competing. So you have to start early on and trying to be the best. It's just how it works. You have to want to win at everything that you do. You want to try to be the best. You want to compete. I don't think it's right to sit there and say, oh, well, we want to make 25 passes before we score a goal. Okay, that's great. But at the end of the day, are you teaching them to win? Because winning is part of development. Because if you don't win, if you progress and you don't win on the first team, you're gone. It's just the way it is. You have to be in a winning culture and a winning mentality. I'm not saying win by all means necessary. Don't get me wrong. You have your methodology of how you want to play and how you want to do things, and you have to stick by it. Of course you do. But you can't just sit there and say and be okay with not winning. Well, how do you solve that problem? Because ultimately the players have to have a desire to want to win as well and compete. It's just so important. It's so important.
I'm pumped. I'm ready to go tomorrow and win. I mean, we were talking about it before the interview, which was one of the questions we asked before. Is like, really, what is this idea of what is the club's philosophy? You said a word that is almost like a word that's unspoken in the last 30 episodes that we've done. It's not, don't be ashamed to win. And I think that's don't be ashamed to fight for it. I think it's a big one.
A very big one. I'm out of note paper. I've had to get my reserve.
Lee, why don't we go to quick fire and let's put Juan on the Spitfire for a little bit.
Quick fire.
Yeah.
Ready. One thing every serious youth player needs by age 13. Every serious youth player needs by age 13.
Man, this is tough for quick fire. That's a good question. By age 13, resilience.
Again with this.
Wow.
Resilience.
Again.
Yeah.
Not technique.
Not I was gonna do another step over thing. I just have to undo last week's. I have to undo last week's damage.
Oh, no. Don't give me the step over scissors and soul rolls. At the end of the day, if a kid's resilient, he's gonna take that ball away from that kid anyway. So it's another. Don't do that.
There's another one. Jeez. All right. One thing parents should stop chasing.
Stop living through your kids. Let them live their own lives.
Yeah. I'm not going to put that in the podcast. So you just go ahead. Yeah, that's not happening. Sorry, man. I told you, what's off the air stays off the air.
One thing parents should start asking clubs.
I would say pathway. Pathway is the most important thing. It's not just about, because at the end of the day, we're trying to create not just good footballers, good people. And it's the pathway. Everything's intertwined in this game. It can't just be one thing or the other. Both. It should be both. Just the pathway. What can you do to help my son or daughter go to the next level, but become a good person as well?
No, it came up again today multiple times. That's excellent. One sign that a player is in the wrong environment.
Complacency. I think when they're just so comfortable. When you start seeing that they're too comfortable, and we have a big thing that says, be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? I think that's the big thing. And when you start seeing that players are comfortable and they go through motions, then you know they're not in the right environment, because then they're not all in. You need to be all in.
Okay. All right. I'll do the opposite. One sign that players in the right environment.
And that's when you see the mentality, right? I think we talked about for tenacity. They approach every game, every session that they do, they approach it. When they cross those white lines, they're focused, they're into it. That the mentality is massively important. They're all good players. We can all see that. It's just the mentality, the desire. I think that's massively important.
Well, this is where we got to learn how to lose too, and we're going to lose this guest. I mean, Juan, this was totally worth waiting for, my friend. Wow with a win. Not with a tie, Lee. Wow with a win.
What Juan did in this episode was put the word winning back in the parent conversation without making you feel guilty. He said winning is a part of development And as well, it is a reminder that the game is supposed to ask something of a player. Desire matters, urgency matters, and caring when you are not on the field matters.
Like every episode, this got a little uncomfortable. You know, when things get too real for me, it gets uncomfortable. And Juan said, if a kid's okay with not playing, then what's the point? The line is directed at us, you and I, parents. It doesn't mean panic after 2 games. I keep telling you that. I don't know why you keep panicking after 2 games, but it means watch for the response. The players should ask the coach what has changed, what has to change, and remind the coach they want the spot back. And then keep competing.
And that connects to Cedar Stars. When one described their player profile, he did not make it soft. He said, you have to be a monster. Not because every kid has to be huge or fast, because in that environment, mentality is the filter. They are trying to keep players, compete with MLS academies around them, and still build a pathway that feels real.
Yeah, that's good, Lee. And the pathway part matters. Juan talked about the June, this I've never heard, the June 15th kids, the ones getting the call early, right? That's kind of the dream. But for everyone else, the message was clear. Send the emails, talk to the coaches, ask better questions, listen to podcasts, do your part. And when he said pathway is important, didn't sound like a slogan, sounded like a responsibility.
And maybe the clearest warning came at the end. One sign a player is in the wrong environment. One said complacency, too comfortable, going through the motions, not all in. Parents, that is a question to sit with after this one. Is your kid being challenged or just protected from discomfort?
I want to thank Juan Santamaria for joining us. Massive, really. But Lee, I want to thank you, brother. I've waited a long time for this. And everyone who's known me and has known you, we talked about you in an early episode with Justin, who said that you've got not me and Justin together. We called you Coach Lee for a reason. We brought
Thanks.
you in here to help preach the good word, help push the boundaries and ask the right questions. And I really appreciate you, brother. And I appreciate the time our sons have spent together.
It's been a pleasure to be a part of this. My best and probably only memory of you when I think of you is we were in Massachusetts and like all the other Indian parents out there, we're in the middle of November. It's cold at some crappy tournament, and you're like, wow. It's like, I never met you before. Is that your son? I was like, yeah. And you're like, man, our kids are going to take us places. And look at us. Here we are now. We went to Florida, we've been to Europe, and now we're on a podcast.
And as Matt said, we're in a basement. I'm in a basement. So look, parents, you got to share this one with any other soccer parent or team chat if you think it's useful. I know you think it's useful. Don't be complacent, parents. Fight for your spot. Help chasing the game. We're helping youth soccer in America. And what are we doing, Lee? We're going to help kids win, 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 win.
Wow.
Buddy,
Win.
thanks. Wow.